Gator fans, we welcome you to another live edition of the Talking Gator. I'm Jay. I'm here with my boys Donnie B from Live Oak, Florida, and then up near our nation's capital, Terrell White. We've got a good show lined up for you today. We're going to talk a little college football playoffs. I want to get Donnie's live reaction on that. He wasn't able to join us last week when Terrell and I discussed it, so I kind of want to get his live thoughts on it and, of course, give Terrell a chance to respond to that. We're going to talk the portal. Man, how discouraging is that, in my opinion, right now, how it looks, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Let's talk a little recruiting. We got some flip watches out there, and these are some four-star guys we're looking at flipping. Coaching, obviously we've lost a coach recently. We'll talk about if that's good news or bad news with the boys, and then, of course, we'll roll into our Golden Gators. That's our basketball team. Hey, but before we do that, if you don't mind, best way to help us out, hit that like and subscribe, and then, of course, catch our shows live on Mondays throughout basketball and golf season until football season starts again. Gentlemen, glad y'all can join me tonight. Donnie B, glad you feel better.
Happening? Thank you, Jay. How's it going, buddy? I'm glad to be part of it. I always miss it when I'm away, but weather got under the weather, but I'm back. I'm back.
We're glad to have you, Terrell. Of course, glad to have you back. Folks, Terrell has a permanent spot here.
Another opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
You're in with us.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just saying thank you for the opportunity to be back and making me a recurring guest. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can build the Talking Gator platform up to what you envision it and beyond.
I hope so. We're growing slowly, but the people that we have do enjoy what we're doing. We get some interactions, and again, folks, the best way to help us out, it's real simple. Hit the subscribe, and if you don't want the crap on your phone every Monday, and when we release stuff, just turn our notifications off. But we like that you turn them on so that you know at least an hour or two before our live shows start. We'll send you a little reminder. That way you can catch us. Gentlemen, again, we are still I said I wanted to move on from football. I really did. I meant that. But following this portal and, these recruits coming in, it's really unnerving, and it's hard to just peel my eyes back to and really focus on basketball. So on that note, my real most important priority question right now is, what are your top 3 cheese or cheese-flavored snacks? Donnie B.
Man, you got to go with the Cheez-Its, man. Cheez-Its are the bomb. Yeah, I mean, they just.
I need a top 3 from you.
Yeah, I'm giving you my 3.
Are these in any particular order?
No.
Okay. All right, continue. I'm sorry I interrupted.
So the Cheez-Its are the go-to when it's just kind of like, something real simple late at night. That's a midnight kind of deal, maybe a little bit of Crown with it or whatever. Maybe some, who knows, nice little, some Jack Daniels with it. It's a good little snack at night, but you got to put some Cheez-Its in there or some Cheetos. Hey, like some Cheetos. Yeah. Oh, crunchy. Oh yeah. Well, but it don't matter. Both of them, man. Cheese. If you say Cheetos, you gotta. That's. I guess I'm gonna have 4 then, because I can do the puffs, or I can do the hard ones. Either, it doesn't matter. Usually, a plug-in is when I go to like Jersey Mike's to get a sub. I have to get the Cheetos with it, so that's a plug-in for Jersey Mike's if they need one. But anyway, but my golf snack, Jay, is the peanut butter. The cheese peanut butter cracker. You know what I mean? So yeah, you get yep. That's my top 3. Yep. Okay. All right.
So I did. I do, and I'm gonna have to steal one for Donnie. Now, not in no particular. I'll put them in order. Number one, nacho cheese Doritos, all time favorite.
Nacho cheese Doritos. That's a good one.
Nacho cheese Doritos. Can have them, but have
That
been
used to be a
having them since I
buzz
was a kid
snack.
and still can eat them to this day.
That used to be a buzz snack back in the day for me. Some Doritos, nacho cheese Doritos.
Nacho cheese
I said
Doritos. Number two.
I said back in the day, Jay. All right, for the record.
Number two, I'm gonna agree with Donnie. Cheez-Its, all flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got the spicy flavors now, and they've infused a whole bunch of different flavors in them. And then number three, I'm gonna go simple. Cheese sticks. I like pepper jack cheese sticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. That's not pepper jack though. Has to be pepper jack.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Yeah.
That is a good call.
Yeah.
Yes, you think of the yellow, the white, and orange bags.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, you said a snack, so I was thinking, but that's my go-to as an appetizer in every restaurant. I started off with some mozzarella cheese sticks. I'm agreeing with you on that. That's probably the top dog right there of all of them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was agreeing with you. You said snacks, so I was thinking like chill out, watch a football game, basketball game, snacks. Yeah.
No, but you did point on a good one with the white cheddar popcorn. I didn't even think about that. That is a staple in my pantry. Yes, my wife. Anytime she goes to the grocery store, typically me and my son, we go through a bag every 2 to 3 weeks. So she always gets another bag when she sees it getting low. The black bag, the smart bag, it's the party size now. So anytime we watch any sport event, any movie night, we bring it out. It is that. Yes, it does. That is a accurate description.
Good stuff. I'm telling you, I'm just kind of like, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, and I've had a couple days for this to sink in. It really hadn't changed how I feel. I get it. I get it. Florida State fans are up in the roar. They're getting their feelings hurt. But I can look at every one of these teams. I can look at with their situation at quarterback right now, because I'm not going off the fact if Travis is behind center. So I had to look at it reality. I think that they got, I think ACC, their schedule, their win-loss, their opponents, who they played. Unfortunately, we got to include our Gators in there that didn't have a very good team. So we got to weigh all that in. So I think that leaving Florida State out, it got right. It was right. But I'll tell you what I don't like. Okay, this is what I don't like. So Georgia can beat Michigan, right?
Oh yeah,
yes,
I believe
they did that last year or the year
Georgia,
before.
okay. Georgia can beat Washington.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't hear you, Terrell. What you think?
I said yes. Can you hear me? Oh,
Okay, y'all. But okay,
can
y'all
you hear
said
me?
yeah. Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia can beat Texas.
Yes, I would say yes.
Okay, all right. And so
Georgia can beat Alabama. Georgia can beat Alabama.
Yes.
Well,
I think if they play 10 times, it'd probably be 50-50.
Elite,
right.
yeah.
So they're not getting the 4 best teams this year, okay? They're not getting the 4 best teams this year. They're getting, I guess you would say, deserving because they won their conference. I'm not impressed with Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not impressed with Washington. I think that, Washington is probably better than Michigan, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with any of those teams. I'm not an SEC homer. I'm just looking reality of the body of work. I think Alabama and Georgia and Texas, and you can toss up a Michigan or Washington should be in the top 4. Now I'm gonna tell you the reason why I think Florida State was left out, even though they were undefeated, is because there's $150 million they're saying that would be the difference of an Alabama going versus a Florida State Seminole going. So I think that they've all put the numbers together and they're talking about who would watch it, who's going to pay for a ticket, all that kind of stuff. They figure 150 million they would lose in revenue if Florida State would have been in there with a backup quarterback. So it's not. So, it's more. It's more popular.
Give me your top 4. Who's your top 4 ideally?
My top 4 would be my top 4 would be, I would say Michigan because the Big Ten plays a stronger conference than Washington. Then I would go Alabama. Then I would go Texas, and then I would go Georgia.
Michigan, Alabama, Texas, Georgia.
I need a tissue.
And Georgia.
Okay. Okay, because I can see if you're thinking. I'm thinking Florida State and Washington are similar. In some respect, right. that maybe the schedule doesn't dictate something. It's hard it's hard to take for those boys. It's a win either way. I think the program's heading in a positive direction. Terrell, like your response to Donnie's top 4 there and his analysis on it.
I see where he comes from, but to the contrary, I believe Washington's going to win their semifinal game versus Texas and make it to the championship game. I'm a believer in Michael Penix Jr., the offenses they play. I'm a believer that the Pac-12 is a tad bit better than the Big Ten. Because in the Big Ten, all you really have is Michigan, Ohio State, the game. Because Iowa was atrocious. If you watch that Big Ten championship game, I think they had 35 or 40 yards of maybe I'm exaggerating or I'm downplaying how many yards of total offense they had. But it wasn't anything magnificent. It was a horrible game to watch. I just feel like Washington's a good team. I feel like they'll be able to score versus Texas. And I'm predicting the upset. But my biggest takeaway from the final poll is it's good to be a Florida Gator. Because all the Florida Gators have to be the top 4 team when the SEC when they go away from East to West and they just go to the top 4 teams. If we're 3-4, we got a chance to make the playoffs every year. You don't have to make it to Atlanta. You just have to be a 3 or 4 team in the SEC, and you got a chance to be in the playoffs. Because Missouri would have made the playoffs this year, and I think what's the other team? Was it LSU was the 12th team? Or somebody else? I forget who it was. Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. But I could go back to 4. I can go back to 4, maybe 5 SEC teams that would beat Michigan and beat Washington.
Washington. Okay. I like Washington. I think they're going to pull the upset over Texas.
I think LSU would beat them by 14.
I don't know about that. I think Washington can score. Like I don't
Yeah.
don't be surprised when Washington beat Texas.
No,
Like I honestly believe that
they're
Washington
not.
is going to beat Texas.
They're not physical. No, I don't think they will.
Like we do this. Go ahead.
Who did they beat? Who did they
They
beat?
beat. I mean, Oregon had the rave, right? They beat Oregon twice. They was the rave. They beat USC for whatever else that's worth.
Okay.
I mean, the Pac-12.
Who else?
I mean,
who else?
I don't know who their out of conference schedule was. I couldn't tell you.
Who did Michigan?
I couldn't tell you who their out of
Michigan?
conference.
See,
I don't think Michigan beat nobody but Ohio State and Penn State. Penn State and Ohio State. I think those are the only two teams of note.
Okay. Well, Penn State's always been like it's always been it's Penn State, so you got to give them some. They hadn't won they hadn't beat a top 10 team in I don't know how many years since Paterno left.
Since James Franklin's been there, I think. Since James Franklin's been there, he hasn't won a big game. And I think they want to fire him, but
yeah. But you can go on and on with teams that I think can beat some of these teams. Now, look, you're talking about a neutral site. You're not talking about a home site either, right? I mean, you don't think
talking about neutral site. Well, they play these games at.
You don't think Ole Miss would give Michigan or Washington? They can score on anybody. I'm just saying.
I'm not. I think I think your games would be exciting. I think the games would be exciting, but I also say this: Ole Miss is all offense, no defense. Now, I'm not saying Washington has a good defense. I think Michigan's defense is probably a lot better than probably advertised, right? Yeah. But I think Michigan can run the ball, which gives Ole Miss problems. Ole Miss couldn't stop a cold in the running game, it seems like this year, right? So I think those things, and Washington has a good run game as well.
But Terrell, they ended up 10-2.
But who did they beat? Who did they beat in them 10 games? They beat LSU, and that's it, right? And they lost. They got blown out by Georgia, and they lost to Alabama, right? Who else did they beat? Because this is my thing with the SEC. I'm an SEC guy, right? But the SEC has a lot of bottom tier teams that are horrible. Just like we were horrible this year. If you put it in perspective, Mississippi State was horrible. We were horrible. Right. Vanderbilt was horrible. We're no different than any other conference. Our top teams are just exceptional. That's the only difference. Yeah. They're exceptional. But we're having a down year. Yes, that's my point. South Carolina was horrible. Kentucky turned out to be fraudulent. Like a lot of teams are horrible in the SEC that we give credit to. And obviously I'm an SEC guy because I'm a Florida fan, right? But it's not. We're extremely top heavy. I just think our middle teams could beat some of the top teams of other conferences. But that's act like our middle teams are unbeatable on neutral sites. I don't want to say that.
Well, what I'm saying to you though, the most deserving teams because they won their conferences: Michigan, Washington, Texas. But I think Alabama winning the SEC was definitely the right call over an undefeated FSU with a backup quarterback.
I really do. I agree. I just feel sorry for, I said last week. I don't know if you heard. I just feel sorry for the kids because in sports, they always tell you what matters. In sports, they always preach it matters. What you do on the field, nothing else matters. But it's a results-oriented game, right? And then when you go undefeated, there's nothing else you can do, and you still don't get a chance at the ultimate prize. I don't care about the administration, the fans. It's the players that my heart aches for the most. Right.
Yeah, and see the thing is that is the hard part, right? Because I in one aspect is they won all the games on their schedule. Of course, they look at it as it's just I am so glad they're going to a larger playoffs because that's going to take away the argument. Now, of course, that 13th and 14th team, they're not going to be happy, but nobody's 100% ever happy in college football. I'm definitely not happy, and I'm looking forward to our next segment talking about this portal deal. But other than that, that's where I think about the playoffs. I think we'll see we're going to see a final. I think we're going to see I'm thinking right now Alabama, Washington. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
All right.
I thought you said Texas. I thought you liked Texas over Washington.
No, I think he liked Washington over Texas, is what I heard.
No. I want Washington over Texas, but I'm saying you said the most four deserving because they won the conference, but I think it's going to be a Washington, Alabama.
I agree.
I don't know.
We both agree.
I don't know. Texas is not even though they've won some games, they're not a very good road team. So we have to see what it is on a neutral site. Look, Oklahoma handled Texas.
True. Well, it's definitely,
and that's a 3-loss team right there, right?
It's definitely telltale. I think we can all agree, the three of us can agree that if this is the four teams we're looking at, I think we've got good
Yep.
seeding in the top four. I
Yeah.
think it's well seeded.
But
Obviously,
I
to
will.
make for interesting football. To
But I
close
will
out
add
the
one
year.
more thing. I will add one more thing about it. The best game we saw was SEC championship. We'll see the rest of the year.
Oh, agreed.
I think Texas Washington is going to be a great game.
There's going to
I
be, and
think
let
Texas
me.
Washington is going to be a shootout.
We're
I
going
think Alabama and
to.
Michigan is going to be a blowout. Alabama's way.
We're
No, what
getting.
I'm saying is the Georgia Alabama was going to be the best game. Will be the best game of the year. SEC. We're all SEC homers, but that Georgia Alabama game and how Alabama got in with that Hail Mary 4th and 30 brought a lot of eyeballs to that SEC championship, and they backed it up by totally. They never had an issue with. They never had fear of Georgia the whole game. They were in control the whole game. They really were. I mean, they're ready now. But
outside of Georgia's opening drive, they took the game over after that drive.
That's it. Yeah, that was a. But you're talking about some, grind, a line of scrimmages, both lines of the scrimmages, a physical game, smart, not making a lot of mistakes. That's the kind of football I want to see at the University of Florida again. Mistake free, going in there, pinning your ears back, and getting the job done, flying to the ball on defense, making enough plays on offense and not making mistakes and jumping off sides, lining up off sides, all the stuff that we've dealt with this year.
So before we get into the transfer portal, moving on from college football playoffs, coming up here in probably the next show, because Christmas is a Monday, so we're gonna figure out how to. What's up, Liam? We're gonna have to figure out, how we work a show around that Christmas Monday. But maybe next show, which it would be on the 18th, that's a week from today, we're looking at making maybe some bowl picks amongst the three of us. Maybe some SEC bowl picks. Here are SEC matchups in bowl games. Obviously, this is other than Alabama. Is we have on the 27th, we have Texas A&M, Oklahoma State. 29th, we're going to see Clemson and Kentucky. We're going to see Missouri and Ohio State. On the 30th, we're going to see Ole Miss and Penn State. We're going to see Auburn and Maryland. We're going to see Georgia and Florida State. On New Year's Day, Wisconsin's going to visit LSU. Iowa is going to visit Tennessee. And then, of course, Alabama, Michigan. So that's a pretty – I'm liking these bowl matchups that the SEC teams are getting here. We're looking at, Oklahoma State, Clemson, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland, Florida State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan. I mean, the SEC stacked up with some pretty decent bowl games.
I'm in total agreement with you, Jay. The only thing I'm worried about, Jay, is all the players who've entered the transfer portal. Do they play in these bowl games, right? Like, because you got some big names in there. The quarterback from Ohio State is no longer at Ohio State. Who's the quarterback? Is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to play? Right? That kind of sways the magnitude of these games. If the best players are sitting out or going to the NFL or entering the transfer portal, are they going to risk it? Right? So that's the only downside of that. Right? Then the names are there, but hopefully the players play.
It does, and I hope we'll definitely get into talking more about these games, these 9 games here on the next show.
Well, the New Year's Six Bowl.
That's a good point.
The New Year's, the New Year's bowls on forward are the ones. The rest of them are irrelevant. You don't even know who's going to show up, like Terrell said. These bowl games, that's another reason why this playoff is so important to expand next year, because it's really losing interest, and these kids don't want to risk getting hurt. It's basically like a new. It's almost like a spring game again.
It's like a spring game.
You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Like Florida did versus Oklahoma that year when Dan Mullen played all those players. He was like, "It's a spring game. We got 10 people opting out."
Yeah, it's not. It's just not. There's not. I mean, they don't really get more other than taking a trophy home for the Sun Bowl Other than that, they get the same things as the other team, little perks or whatever like that. But I just think that it's hard to pick them, but it's gonna be fun because
we're gonna pick them.
We're gonna be punting a lot because we're not gonna have a clue because we ain't gonna know who these players are. What's gonna happen?
That's fine.
Hey, exactly.
We're gonna run some pick'ems amongst the three of us on the next show, or if we fit one in before the 27th, which my heart. Let's just plan on talking SEC bowl games, and let's do some pick'ems. We'll pick all 9 games amongst the three of us. Have a little fun game there. Let's get into transfer portal. Our portal predicaments. We got a lot of flip watches. The one more highlighted to me is Trevor Etienne. I understand why he's doing it, but there's going to be a big hit on the defensive side of the ball. We got a couple 4-star D linemen that are heading out. Uman Mielen looks like he's going to be looking to go elsewhere. Donnie B, what are you and before I turn it over to you, one I see that's not really high on this list, and I thought this should have was Jonathan Odom, that tight end. I thought that he had some pretty good involvement, in the year. That was kind of surprising to see. I think that maybe not a huge hit because we have a good tight end room.
Yeah.
But
more
still,
to wait.
Yeah, would love to see him to have grown, but nonetheless, he's in that transfer portal as well. But these 4 guys that I see, Donnie B, before I turn you loose on this, ETN, Uman Mielen, obviously, and then we got a couple defensive linemen, Will Norman and Chris McClellan, I think is going to be – I mean, we're already struggling on the defensive line, right? And not that we're losing, superstars, but we are losing what little bit of fuel we had up there. Give me a portal breakdown. What are you seeing?
Well, this is why I feel about this is how I feel about it. It's going to blow your mind. Your records is what you say you are, right? Your record, right? You're 5-7. You're 5-7, and we're worried about losing defensive linemen who gave up. So I go back to that LSU game, and I just think about how we just got carved up. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, really, you think we're losing very much? I was hoping that maybe we would go and find at least another maybe 22 on the other side of the ball and give them a shot. Get a new ones, get some new 2s, get 22 on the other side of the ball, go find them in the portal. I mean, there's 4,000 kids in the portal, I think. Go find some new ones because I am not – I mean, other than the linebackers we have, I'm not really impressed with much, especially toward the end of the year. Our depth is really an issue. It's going to hurt with depth losing these guys, but – man, I don't even know what to tell you on that side of the ball if I'm really devastated. I think the big boys that I think he's losing. He was a 5-star last year, a 4-star that played a lot this year as a freshman. Help me out with his name. He said today he was coming back.
Who was that?
My mind's going blank. I can't think of it.
Kelby Collins?
Yeah, Collins is coming back. He said today he's staying. He's going to be a Gator.
Okay.
And, look, we're not the only team that's dealing with this all over the country. Guys, I'd really hate to be a college football coach right now. I really would. You scratch your head on some of this stuff, man. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Yeah. You're flying all over the country, bring these boys, high school kids in, and they tell you after being here 1 year, that they don't want to be with your program. I mean, how do you build? How do you build for the future? How do you build for it? I don't even know how to do it.
I think now, depending on who you're coaching, I think between now and, the first preseason game or regular season game, whichever you want it doesn't really matter. I think that's the best time to be the coach in today's, day in football because of how portal shit works and how NIL shit works. It's throwing a whole new dynamic to coaching.
Y'all were talking something about golf at the beginning. Y'all were kind of talking about the golf and stuff, the Live Tour and all. I'm like going, I am so I love college football. I look forward. I'm counting the days already for next year. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it. That's the way I am because it's the most entertainment I get on TV whatsoever. Because I think NFL, that's guys are getting paid, and now I can't even say it about college. We got kids that are saying, I will be a Gator for life." Will that? What are they saying on their train when they're leaving? I will be a Gator for life. However, now, what's a Gator for life, Jay? What would you say is a Gator for life? What would you say Gators for life, Jay? Or Terrell, what would you say a Gator for life is?
My assumption would be someone who played 4 to 5 years, graduated, got a degree, or made a significant impact on the program.
Yeah.
In some way, not necessarily you may not have graduated within the 4 years because you went pro, but you had a significant impact. You went through the tough times, the hard times, and you showed a level of resilience.
But you got, and see, that is no longer. You don't even hear them saying, "I'm here to get an education." I'm here to go to the league. They don't have to go to the league no more. Some of these kids are making more than Brock Purdy. Listen, some of these kids are making more than Brock Purdy right now.
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Donnie. Now, we paying Billy Napier $7 million to go 5-7 now. He making more than some NFL coaches. So we only get, it's a disparity in time. But at the end of the day, like you see what I'm saying, I'm with you with some of these players making more than Brock Purdy. But do you think Billy Napier is worth $7 million?
No.
Okay.
But
so I mean,
but he got hired.
Trickle down somewhere.
But wait a minute, he got hired in the SEC. Okay.
And
that's because of the pedigree of the SEC. That's why he's making that kind of money. And it's like same thing with Major League Baseball players. I mean, they pulling that dude, just came from the Angels, $700 million. Otani.
Yeah.
That joker's he set $700 million. I mean, come on. Jeez. But listen, you're in high school. You're a high school kid. Now listen, Terrell, this is what bothers me. We're sending the wrong message. We're sending the wrong message. However, I get it with TV revenue.
Yes, I'm about to go there. Because no one complained when the SEC is leaving CBS to go to ESPN for like $5 billion. No one's complaining then. No SEC school is complaining. And the only reason they're getting that type of money is because the product on the field.
I think we may have got a frozen Donnie there for a minute.
Oh, you froze, Donnie?
Yeah, he's froze up a little bit. As far as
like I'm with Donnie. I understand what we're going through in the portal. We're losing. We're potentially but we probably have lost ETN, right? From the Twitter streets.
Yeah.
The word is that he's going to head to Georgia, right? So that's even a bigger blow, right? He leave us to go to probably our arch nemesis rival, right? SEC East team opponent that's on the schedule next year.
Knowing that he's got to see us again in Jacksonville.
Yes. And how I look at it is, do you see? I'm kind of torn, Jay. Like if you promised me something when I came, if you recruited me and said I'm going to be your feature player, you're going to get 25 carries a game, and you don't hold true to that, how should a kid react? Right? Should I just stick it out? Yeah. Should I stick around? Like it's a double-edged sword. Like I understand it from the purist point of view from the sport, but then I also understand this is at this point in time. Every player is their own entity. Every player is their own LLC, right? They got to make the best business decision potentially.
That's how it is
not
now.
necessarily in college.
Yeah,
that's how it is now. That's how it is now. Like I understand it from the purist perspective, the way Donnie's showing it. Like you go get a kid stay 4 or 5 years, unless he has some hardship, his parent falls ill or something like that. He wants to be closer to home, but now it's not looking like that when you got money.
You got to cap it, Terrell. I mean, we got a kid.
You can't cap it. We can't.
Yeah, because we got to. We got to. No, they got to cap it. They got to cap it per position. They got to do it per position.
So
my question is, are you saying?
When I look at Trevor Etienne, okay, he's our second leading rusher right now, but he's simply a few weeks at camp from not. I don't see this as a right now. Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne are sharing about 283 yards. Okay, there's 152. There's 100. I'm sorry, 283 carries. Okay.
Yeah, they have to.
Their yardage is less than 100 difference. We got 817 to Montrell. We've got 753 to ETN. ETN's averaging 0.3 yards more than Montrell. So I'm seeing Trevor Etienne as listen here, we would like to maintain Montrell's 150 carries this season. We'd like to maintain his 8, maybe 1,000-yard season, but we don't want it to take away from you. We want to develop more run. Why was there never a package developed for both of them on the field? For both of them in the backfield? Why did that never happen?
Fans want to know. That's a question a lot of fans want to know. I felt like you could have used.
So this is telling me that if he's willing to skip rocks, that something was told to him and Montrell in that fashion, because I know it was entertained in practice here and there. And I feel I don't like, that he's considering Georgia. I don't like that at all. But I don't like that he's leaving at all, but I can see why he is. There's a lot of work that he's going to have to put in this offseason that Montrell's already got this momentum going into. Montrell's looking like he's going to be our leading back if he can, if he continues the way he is in the offseason heading into next season. He's looking like our number one guy. Yeah. But what about a 2 number 1 men? What if there's 2 men sharing a number 1 and Montrell is he's 21 carries away. I'm looking at what's that 60.
I think there's something deeper that we're not. I don't know if it's the monetary aspect or it's something Billy promised him going into his sophomore season that we aren't privy the information that we aren't privy to.
That was my point. Is I think there's something that we don't know. There's something back. There's a promise not being made.
I don't care.
I feel like it is. I don't think it's the money, because I don't think Georgia's going to pay no running back no $1 million. I think Georgia understands running backs come down a dozen. He's not Adrian Peterson at Oklahoma in year 1, right? He's not that's Reggie Bush. He's not Percy Harvin. Now he's a damn good running back. Don't ever get me wrong. He can make somebody miss in the hole, but he's not spectacular enough to be getting command a top dollar like that. I just think there was some promises made that maybe didn't get held up on Billy Mayfield's hand. And then that kind of rubbed his family and him in the wrong way. So he said he's going to take his football and go a different direction.
So with the backs that we have in the room, okay, let's say we Trevor goes. We've got Montrell Johnson, Trayon Webb, looking like he's going to hang around, right? So
Cam Carroll.
With Trevor gone, do those yards divert to Montrell, and do we get Montrell 200 carries this season and 1,000 yards without ETN?
I doubt it. I think Billy's a multiple back type of guy. He doesn't want to have one workhorse. He wants to split it down to even, which I understand, especially saving these kids' legs for the league. If they make it to the NFL, you get fresher legs instead of being a workhorse who got 400, 500 carries in college.
You can't really get any closer with 2 backs. 150 carries, Montrell Johnson, 152, 817 yards, 5.4 per carry. Trevor Etienne's at 131 carries, 753, 5.7. We're looking nominal difference here.
We've always had a 2-back. We've always had a 2-back rotation all the way back. I can think about the only one I think we run a horse was Eric Rhett, Fred Taylor, Emmett Smith, but the rest of them were all rotating with other. We had a kid out of John L. Williams and a Moulton kid, MJ Moulton. They were running backs. They called them the M&M boys. I mean, we've always had a two backs. And one thing I would say about, ETN was explosive with the ball, but he couldn't block me. So
that's a fact. That's a fact, Donnie.
If you don't block, if you can't, in that scheme, if you can't block that, when you've got a weak O-line and you don't have a running back that can, you're going to have to give him a package that maybe softens it up where he can go out into the flat or whatever like that and catch a pass or whatever. But if he's not going to block anybody, you need somebody in like a Montrell who will block everybody.
Inside source tells me that they had a team meeting and they Googled the word blocking here last week.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So if you look in that Georgia game,
I agree with you on that, Donnie.
Man, that Georgia game, when ETN was in there, he got blown up. I am like blown up. So
Donnie, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking enough to talk about, these prospects of losing.
Yep.
I know we had some visits, some portal visits the other day. Do you know anything about those, and do those bring any hope to us?
Yeah, we got a commit today from the number 8 player in JUCO, defensive lineman, 6'4", 281. He looks like he's going to make a difference, an impact. We have a DB. They brought in a DB from I think it was Texas Tech. Oregon, yeah. Well, Texas Tech had one, and Oregon had one that came in. The one from Texas Tech I didn't even know about till I listened to a show this morning, and then they brought his name up. We should be hearing about him in the next couple of days. Like a Dre Bry or something like that's his name. I've never heard of him. But there's a kid out of Penn that reminds me a lot of, and I know you can't say TJ Watts or whatever like that, but this dude's built just like TJ Watts from Penn. He was player of the year.
Joyce. And
I think he's gonna commit in the next couple of days. So we got some people coming in, but I'm telling you, Terrell, if they don't go to a cap, they're going to ruin college football. That's intent. And I said, quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. This is my only question. I don't. I'm not.
Go ahead.
You're breaking up, Donnie.
Yeah, go ahead, Terrell.
What I was going to say, I guess I'll say it to you. I don't disagree with Donnie's perspective about, you see what I'm saying, the Wild Wild West, a cap. My question: if you put a cap in place, who negotiate? Do the players get to collectively bargain?
Go ahead, say what you're saying.
I said I don't disagree with you, right? You see what I'm saying? I think when you try to institute a cap, you're going to open up a bigger Pandora's box in my mind, because at that point in time, who says what position is worth? Do they get to collectively bargain these things? Because at that point in time, that's labor.
And it'll always be bargained up. It'll always be bargained up. So as soon as someone wants to,
then the players gonna have the right to strike. It's a multitude of things that come along with this when you think about that. You see what I'm saying? When you start thinking about about unionization.
What about?
Huh? You breaking up, Donnie?
Hey, what is college football without the fans? What is college football without the fans?
My question is, are the fans ever gonna go anywhere? That's the question. I don't think the fans are ever going to go anywhere. Because if you don't like the NFL, then college is your only alternative. And you have a greater appreciation because this may be your alma mater. You may have grown up rooting for this team for 10, 15 years. Like, where are you really? I mean, I don't sound like to be the bearer of bad news, but where are you really going to get your football fix?
Yeah, but they can negotiate a 5-year contract.
If we say
right?
there's one fan,
all right, we're going to put a cap.
If there's one NFL fan, right, for every one college football fan who is just a fan because they were raised, not alumni, just a fan, they were just raised a fan. Let's just say it's a 1-to-1. It's not, because there's so many college football teams, but whatever. Let's just say. But then you add the dynamic that you have alumni that are rooting that weren't fans. So I think college football, I would like to think college football has the bigger audience
right now
to answer the question, and I don't think it doesn't die. If anything, it just reaches, it plateaus at wherever NFL ball is. It's going to be a marketing thing. It's going to be how can you present the games to where we can get. Look at Amazon Prime now. Thursday Night Football is probably one of the best football productions I've seen. They have figured out how to produce football.
I agree.
And so that's what's going to be the battle anymore moving forward when college football does reach that professional dynamic of, all this money shit, is that it's just going to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hold on, Jay. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay. I apologize. Donnie, this is my question to you. If we were Georgia and we got to cherry pick the pick of the litter from the transfer portal, would you be upset? It's because we're losing our valuable players that it hurts even more. But if we was the king of the mountain, and we were picking off players from other universities to come help us get to the SEC championship game, get to the playoff, I feel like our sentiment will be a little different. I think if we get back to the playoff, to to the glory days of Florida and using the portal to help us to get there and maintain that status quo at that level, that you wouldn't be as upset about the portal as you are currently. Would you agree with that?
No.
Do you think the portal can feed recruiting? Then vice versa.
No, I think you supplement. You supplement with the portal. Recruiting is the lifeline. That's how Georgia is what Georgia is.
But do you use the short term? What I'm saying is, do you use the short term gratification with the portal to try to build some kind of sentiment through recruiting? That's what I'm asking.
This is just the litmus test. The test is going to be Florida State, because Florida State was a portal team last year. This year, you're going to see if they ever develop, if they recruited well, because if they regress, that tells you the portals only have a short shelf life of maybe 1 or 2 seasons. Right. But then you get back to then you regress back to the means.
Okay. So let me ask you, Terrell, is there, if we're just weighing what we see
guys,
portal out,
what we're missing. That's why you
go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yes.
Go ahead, Donnie.
Yes, I would still be the same way.
You broke up again, Donnie. I think you got a little static in the line.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead, Donnie. I can hear you now.
Can you get? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, okay. So the health of college football, the health of it, because this is what's going to happen. The guys that can afford buying the players are the ones, the teams that can buy the players, that has a huge, they're the ones that are going to, they're the ones that are gonna,
you're static over there, Donnie.
Successful.
Because you may want to leave and come back in, Donnie.
This is concerns. So let's just say the final.
He can't hear you. He's still chopping. He's still going.
So,
can you send him a message on the backside?
He gets 5 class now. Starts turning around. I hit it. I
taking a break a little earlier than what I wanted to because of Donnie's connection problems. We'll be right back. We'll get this technical issue figured out, and we look forward to seeing you. Hang with us.
I did. Good.
All right, folks, we got it figured out. We got Donnie B figured out. He's back. He's back in with us live and clear. Before we get back into it, don't forget I don't even know where we're at with this. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. Catch us Mondays. We'll let you know next Monday what we're going to do with Christmas because Christmas falls on a Monday. So be sure to tune in next Monday so you know exactly what that. I got to go back a few slides here. Donnie B, you cut out. We were talking about Portal. Portal. And I want to kind of give you a little 2 minutes worth here to let you finish your thought and your statement. We'll turn it over to Terrell a couple minutes, and then let's get into recruits. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize it. I mean, it's technology. Can't control it. But anyway, look, we got 3 passionate dudes here that love Gator football, but we love what we're doing. I'm enjoying this. And I learned as we're doing this together, which is exciting. But my feeling is that if we don't cap this NIL money for each position, I know you say which is quarterback touches the ball more, naturally he's going to get paid more, but they got to go to a cap. And I'm telling you, it's not about just being a Florida Gator. It's about the health of college football because there's 131 D1 schools. And there's only really that are relevant, maybe 10, 15. And the rest of them are bottom. There's a lot of bottom feeders. Even in the SEC, there's bottom feeders in the, in the Big Ten, there's bottom feeders in the Pac-12, ACC, Sun Belt Conference, Conference USA. They're bottom feeders who are going to not have an opportunity to build a program, and they might have one stellar year, like a Cincinnati or like Liberty is like this year. I mean, they would be in the playoffs if it was a 12-team playoff. But I'm just saying that year in and year out, if they don't cap this off, it's going to be who can buy the best players, who has the most money, and that's not what college sports is about. College sports is about I love the game. Yeah, I want to go to the league one day. But I want to be able to get an education because I only have a 3-year life and an average 3-year life in the NFL. If I do make it, which is 5%, you should go to school because you want to get an education. I know the guys get paid because I think you get paid with the TV revenue and all that kind of stuff. But you're giving 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids millions of dollars to play a sport that every kid dreams about playing on the college level. And I just think that the health of it all is the main thing. The health of the game is the biggest thing to me. And that's my biggest concern. And I think the fans are going to lose interest because it's not even going to be fair. That's how I leave it.
All right. That was good use of your 2 minutes there, Donnie B. And Terrell, great restraint there. Great restraint. So, Donnie B, we're going to ask the same restraint of you, and we're going to turn over Terrell, give him his 120 seconds uninterrupted to respond to that. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I don't disagree with Donnie's point, right? At its core, right? College, the fans make the sport in all sports, right? Without fandom, there is no income, there's no money being made in. But what I will say is, right, like I said earlier, where are the fans going to go, right? College is the last thing that you can hold on to because the NFL is such a big business. College, we still feel is pure, but I think the money that's being driven in by this TV revenue, by you see what I'm saying, all of these different streams, this betting that's coming along, all these different things that's being introduced to the game that's kind of turning it into a business. And I don't fault the kids for understanding, like, yo, at some point in time, right, this is a business, and I need to do what's best for me. Now, I don't like the fact that kids can hop in the portal and just leave when they want to leave, but then I'm kind of torn on the other side when coaches do the same thing. You come knock on the kids' door and say, I'm going to be there with you for 4 years, and then you just go take the next job that's offering you the more money. I can't fault the kids. You see what I'm saying? It's a business. I'm with Donnie. I'm torn, but I understand it is what it is, and I doubt it's going anywhere. And I don't think you can put a salary cap on these things because these aren't unionized workers. They haven't collectively bargained anything. And I think when you do that, that's when you're going to open the Pandora's box about college sports being really, really business oriented, where it's no longer association with the university. It's like, this is the union I'm a part of, and we stand for this. We don't stand for this. So I'm hopeful that they can get a handle on it, but I just don't understand. I don't see how. So the Wild West. And to my last point before you go, Jay, college sports has always been about the have and the have-nots. I've never seen anybody complain about Vanderbilt never making an SEC championship game, right? Like, no one cares that Vanderbilt. No one expects Vanderbilt too. They were brought into the SEC to prop up the educational aspect of it, right? So it is what it is. At the end of the day, not all teams are created equal, and there's never going to be equality in college sports. There's going to be winners, and there's always going to be losers.
Great job, gentlemen. I want to propose a question to you. Simple answer, no elaboration, because I want to move on to recruits, and I want to got a little bit of coaching brief. But real quick question: you are the college football god, all right, and you get to eliminate one, either NIL or the transfer portal. Donnie B, which do you get rid of?
Oh, it's got to be NIL.
You get rid of NIL.
Yeah,
completely.
100.
Yeah, it's all or nothing. What I'm asking here: transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing. Getting rid of it.
Yeah,
Terrell. You're muted, Terrell.
I'm here. Sorry about that. I was muted. I would say the transfer portal, right? You see what I'm saying? Unless extreme circumstances, but I would say the transfer portal. I don't think you can remove the money. That's just me. I don't think you can remove the money from big businesses. Like,
I think you can. I think you can definitely make an argument for either. There's definitely a fair argument for either, and it's lesser of the two evils. I think is the argument, really, because in a perfect world, both are or at least highly regulated more than they are now.
Why would you say the portal?
This is what I was trying to not do. I said no elaboration.
Yeah, I just, you know how I am, right?
What would you? What's the question, Donnie?
Well, Donnie,
I'm gonna give you a short answer.
You can't just get it. You can't just answer A, B, and C. You got to get.
Well, Donnie, I think it's clear of why you would.
Yeah.
You could get rid of either.
Yeah.
I think the argument again is what's the lesser of the two evils, and which is worse than the other. So why would he choose that over? But
Terrell,
I just think there's going to be a valid response.
Terrell keeps saying it's a business. You know,
it is.
It is
now.
Like, we have to realize it. It's a
no. You said you said it's a business. That's not what amateur sports was about. That is not what it was ever about.
Agreed.
But this is my only. I agree with you, Donnie. But this is my question. When you start paying coaches $10 million, it becomes a business. And when you get these TV contracts of $3 billion, $4 billion, and then you say it becomes a business. At that point, it's a business.
These coaches have been making money for years. It's just with the way it's grown, but they were making this money up. You think? What do you think Saban made when he went to Alabama? You think he made $500,000?
I'm sure he made more than that. But the thing nobody was going to the courts. Nobody was going to the courts to say there was an antitrust. No one was saying that I can't use my name, who my mother and father gave me, and I can't go make money with Amazon, right? Nobody. The NCAA was preventing that. Once they went to the legal side of that, and we live in America, it's a capitalistic society, and my name is my name. You can't dictate my name. It was Pandora's box was open, and then you can't put that box. You can't put anything back in that box because they're going straight to the Supreme Court.
What's the definition of an amateur athlete? What's the
there is no such thing as amateurism anymore in college, right? Let's think about this.
Right. That's right. And why is
you said what?
And why is that?
Money. Because of the money.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about Division 1 and 3?
Let me wrangle this. I'm prepared. I'm prepared to mute both of you. We can hear each other, but
the division. What are they?
They're not bringing it. It's no difference. This is how I look at it, Donnie. There's no difference between that. There's no difference between, like, if they're not bringing any money, no one cares. It's only because football is bringing the money that these institutions and these rules have been set in place moving forward. If they were bringing in minimum revenue, like D3, D2, all that type of stuff, no one's out there seeking revenue. No one's out there tripping about the transfer portal of D2, D3. because they're not
North
bringing in money. It's
State.
not dictate. It's not swinging the money.
All right,
That's one program.
let me try this differently because we're
Go ahead,
we can
Jay.
still
Go ahead, Jay.
get in the gray area
No.
of portals and NILs because our next conversation is recruits. So there's we can just use this as a segue to go and recruit. So Terrell, finish your thought and your statement, but somehow segue us into the recruits at the end of this. And Donnie, you're the rudder on this one.
Man, y'all killing me. Business. It ain't a business.
Unfortunately, Donnie.
So take what you're saying, Terrell. Take what you're saying, Terrell, and we're gonna give you some journalistic. We're gonna let you showcase your journalistic talents here to see if you could segue into recruits through this.
Donnie, this is what I'll say. I'll tell you how it's the business of the business. We're paying DJ Lagway, I'm sure, a substantial amount of money to come to the University of Florida. He's a recruit, right? And we also have a 5-star safety out of Texas that we're driving to keep in the recruiting class. But the University of Texas is knocking at his door to kind of flip him to their university. And I'm sure they're paying him they want to pay him some level of compensation to come to their university and be a remarkable football player. Other than
talk to them.
Say what, Donnie? I didn't hear you. Go ahead, Donnie. What'd you say?
DJ Lagway's going to Texas A&M to talk to them tomorrow.
Yeah, so my point exactly. And he's not going there just because he thinks he wants to be a 12th man, right? I'm sure there's another man knocking at his door with a briefcase telling you that we're surpassing anything the University of Florida is offering, right? And I'm sure if you had a kid in this opportunity, you wouldn't fault him, but you understand this the lay of the land now. But moving on, just kind of sidestep, moving along, like Florida's kind of in a recruiting a rock and a hard place, right? Like Donnie just alluded to. DJ Lagway's potentially going to go to Texas A&M. Xavier Filsaime, the 5-star safety out of Texas, potentially is going to flip to Texas. Excuse me. And we got a couple other recruits. Amarius Williams, he's a big time defensive end out of North Carolina. He's been on flip watch, potentially heading to Auburn or Ohio State. I think Georgia's making a run out of him. LJ McCray, the big time 5-star defensive end out of Daytona Mainland High School. He just visited Florida State and Auburn over the weekend, right? These are the gems of Billy Napier's crown jewel class, the one that's supposed to get him to a fourth year in the university. So these are the kids we need to be on flip watch. Potentially, hopefully, we can maintain these kids. But if not, this is gonna put the fire up on Billy Napier a year in advance. Go ahead, Don. Excuse me.
I got to add this in because this is frosting me. Yeah. And I just got it.
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead, Donnie. Take it away. Take it away. Go ahead, Donnie.
Brother, a light just came on. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You say this is a business, right?
Yes, sir. It is.
Sorry. You say this is a business. All right. That money. Now listen to me. That money that's they're getting paid from those TV revenues is going to where? Where's that going?
Could you repeat?
Where's the money? Where's the TV revenue?
When you say the TV,
it's going to the TV broadcasting company.
No.
What you mean? You talking about who is ESPN paying this money to? Like the SEC? Who are they paying it to? They're paying it to the university. It's a split. They're paying the university. Right. Everybody's splitting it up 13 ways of how many universities it is.
Where does the money come from the NIL? Who pays that?
It comes from boosters and alumni.
Donors?
Okay.
I think you can choose whether you're a booster or you donate to NIL.
However
you slice the pie. Yes, you're right, Jeff.
All these kids, all these kids are thinking they're getting all this money, right? They're getting all this money. All right, think about it. That money that the TV revenue is going to, it ain't going to the kids. And it ain't going to the NIL. It's going to the school. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, so the money the only thing you're relying on is your boosters to fund the NIL. All right. Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
When
that's
they
correct.
say
right now, that's correct.
And they're getting paid, everybody's thinking because they're getting all these millions of dollars, they can pay the players. That's not fair because
that's not how it works.
The boosters are paying money to the NIL. Okay.
Yes, that's
what they're
correct.
Paying. They're not getting that
that's correct.
$1 million money. So that's
correct.
That's the contrast between thinking they're getting all this money, but that money ain't going in NIL to pay these players.
What's the point you're trying to make, Donnie? So I can refute it.
You don't have a booster program at the University of Connecticut that can compete with another team. That program's going to die because they can't afford that money.
Okay, then you know what you should do, Donnie? In reality, maybe you need to be a D2 school. You no longer could be a D1 school and compete with the big dogs, because that's what it boils down to, right? It boils down to boosters and money. Because Texas A&M, hold on, let me finish this, Jay. Let me finish, Donnie. Texas A&M has more money than the university. I mean, I'm not gonna say University of Florida, but some other universities. They got oil money down there. They got a lot of money, and they're buying players, right? So, like, you know what? No, I'm gonna say this. The NCAA recommended that all the big money schools form a new conference, a new subdivision, whatever it's called, and they all play amongst a certain amount of rules that they set up themselves. I think that's what's going to potentially happen. All the big money schools, the Floridas, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texas A&M, the Texas, the Oklahomas, they're going to form a subdivision, and the Ohio States, the Michigans, the USCs, the UCLA, and they're all going to play by certain rules that the other schools who don't have them type of resources don't have to abide by. Because obviously what Donnie's saying is true. You're going to have small schools who can't compete. And that's already happening now, but it's going to happen at a greater level.
And then I think you fall to, a school like Florida as a prime example that's going to fall behind, and that NIL money is going to fall behind, which means recruiting is going to fall behind, right? So it's just going to be a chain reaction. And to my point, and the only thing I would have to all that is, Donnie, it sounds like maybe you are in favor of eliminating the portal, but maybe there should be big time reform on NFL on NIL. I think we can all agree to that. That if we eliminate one, the other still needs significant reform.
I think
I don't know how you cap it. I just don't know how you cap it. I just think that's.
I don't know how you cap it. Unless you just cap it across the board. Unless you cap it across the board.
You cap it
across the board.
Tell me your plan. How you cap
across the board? That's the only fair way to do it.
What are you capping? Let me know what you're capping, Donnie. What are you capping?
Capping how much you make as a quarterback if you're a starting quarterback.
I think capping recruits. I think you start at capping recruits.
Portal players, they don't matter. There's a cap that they can make.
What can the NCAA say to cap it? Like, what are you saying? Cap what? Cap my name, what my name is worth, is what you're saying? Because I'm not getting paid by the university. I'm not getting paid by the NCAA.
I think NIL, when you're taking name, image, likeness, that's separate. I think if people are buying a 1,000 jerseys with my name on it, I feel like I get a cut, right? So that's a whole separate thing. I'm talking about NIL used to pay players to bring in.
Oh man, but that's everything. But they're also going to put that under the guise of name, image, and likeness. They're never going to say, "I'm paying you directly this amount of money to come to my university." They're always going to say, "I want you to do 100 commercials for my dealership in the middle of Texarkana, Texas, or something like that." Right? That's how they're saying it. And who is Donnie to say? Who is Terrell to say? Who is Jay to say? Since you're a quarterback, you only can make $500,000 from this commercial, when the rest of America can go out on their own and make $1 million if this same individual want to pay this money. That's where you're going to get into this, because America's always been about capitalism. You make what you make, and no one can intervene on how much you make, no matter the entity, right? And they're not getting paid by the NCAA. I think that's the biggest problem.
Then I think there's an overall cap on an NCAA player. I don't think it's by position. I think it's a cap that says, okay, you're only taking this much per contract. Now, if you're doing one for the bug company, you're doing one for the phone company, you're doing one for the, this company, if you can combine them, that's a whole different thing. But this contract can only say you can pay an NCAA player this much.
But why do we do that? We don't care about the IT guy who goes to work for Apple as a sophomore as an internship who gets paid $300,000. You don't care about that guy. We care about football, and I know what it is, and I understand it. I just want to be fair across the board, that no one should be able to cap what another person can make on his name, no matter who's paying it, no matter the age. That's my mentality, right? Who am I to say when someone can make it 18 and 19? Like if that's what the earning potential is. That's his earning potential. That's my only pushback. Now, I think there should be some reform. I just don't know how you legally do it. But the floor is yours, Donnie. The floor is yours.
All right, I'm gonna steal.
I enjoy this, but I'm pounding my head right now. I'm just thinking what we're talking about. I go back to the definition of an amateur sport, and we made it a business. NIL was designed to be able to sell your jersey and make a little money of it, not make $2 million because you can play football. It's not what it was designed for.
I am not qualified to moderate a show on these topics.
You're just so much. We need 5 hours. and we're never going to get it right.
pushing dirt.
I'm with you, Donnie,
Push
but
dirt
that
for
was
a
Pandora's
Really
box that was open, right? And NIL is hampering the University of Florida and recruiting, like I alluded to. Like we got some of our best recruits are potentially going to flip other ways because the money's a little better on the other end, right? So I mean,
they sell,
I don't know what to say. I mean,
they're selling
we're in
themselves.
this place.
They're selling themselves the ability to play football, not versus go buy my jersey so I can make money off of, or I can do a commercial for a car dealership.
Well,
I can buy a car and somebody go buy cars. That's what it was designed for.
I mean,
we're designed to make these millions
yeah,
of dollars.
but I mean, well, I don't think college draft athletics was designed to be $1 billion industry either, was it?
No,
but it's but
See,
when you say
it
$1 billion,
that, and now when it become that,
all right. So let's
you can go on and on. I just think it's. I just don't think it's.
I've got me a note here, guys. I've got me a note here of things we definitely need to continue conversation on. Now that we have room in the off season to actually have these conversations, we can hash them out as we go. But we're working on an hour and a half here on the Talking Gator, and we appreciate you for joining us this far into it. A little bit of recruiting that is moving in, kind of some news. We're looking at a flip watch. We're looking at kind of the two biggest right now to me are the Xavier Filsame and LJ McCray seem to be the biggest threats to a flip watch. It seems that DJ Lagway, there's no real news coming out of that, the DJ Lagway entourage. So that's good to hear. Terrell, we need DJ Lagway. I believe if we're looking at these major flip watches right here, Filsame, McCray, Lagway is probably the last. He's the last cricket in the bucket, right?
I would agree, Jay. I think that Lagway is the safest if you had to put him on a scale 1 to 10. I think if he flipped, I would put it around a 3, 4. I think Filsame is probably a 8, 9 right now from all the intel I've kind of been able to gather, and I think LJ McCray is around a 5, 6. Right? I think that would be
You're rating 1 to 10 on a flip.
The safer end.
Is that
rating
right?
10. I think 8, 9 for Filsame. Yes. I think 8, 9 for Filsame. I think Texas has been in his ear all year. Us not having a good year, us taking the Billy having the inability to read the room when I say hire DB coach, because we just got one announced today, but we've been out of DB coach for approximately 2 weeks. And in Texas has a DB coach. Texas is in the playoff. Texas is in the state that he's currently living in. So I think that plays into that. And I think LJ McCray, I think from everything that I've been able to discern, he's kind of sold on Florida, the vision of what Florida can be once they get everything rolling on the right tracks and stuff like that. So I think he's probably 50-50. And I think Lagway is probably doing some due diligence, just going to see what's out there, looking at the landscape. But I think from everything, all accounts, I think he's 100% solid to Florida. I think he's not going anywhere. He loves Ryan O'Hare. He loves Billy Napier as a quarterback coach and all of the things like that. And I think it was a on-the-field staff or analyst guy who's a big part of his recruitment, who's still on the staff, who's kind of keeping him locked in with his commitment to the University of Florida. So I think other than those three, I think the class is pretty much solid. There's some kids that we're still recruiting. A cornerback that's currently committed to Alabama. He visited last week, and I think he believes in Billy's plan, but he doesn't know if this is a lame duck coaching staff, is what I was kind of able to pick up. He doesn't know if Billy doesn't have a remarkable year. Is he still going to be there? And then lastly, there was a running back that's currently committed to Arkansas. I think his name is Jordan Baugh. I think he's kind of 50-50 on us, Arkansas, and Alabama. And he's visiting Alabama next week. So that'll kind of tell us where we stand in that as far as National Signing Day coming up on the 20th of December. So there's a couple of key kids out there, a couple of kids we hope to retain and keep in this class. And there's probably going to be some surprises like there is every National Signing Day. Maybe Billy has something in the tuck, something he's hidden away, a kid that he's been sitting on, and we're going to get some good news on National Signing Day. But hopefully we get more good news than bad news coming up with these potential flips that we currently have already in the class right now.
So is it telltale, number one, let me ask you, is it telltale that we are looking at our highest potential flips are on the defensive side of the ball, and it seems to me our biggest our portal out list is biggest hits on the defensive side of the ball. It seems to me there's a something going on with the defensive side of the ball with Florida Gators, Terrell. Now I know
it seems that way, right? But evidence.
I know that we've had some recruits that we're kind of having Coach Raymond's back, Corey Raymond, who was just recently fired by Florida Gator defensive backs coach. How does number one, is that telltale that things are adjusting and need to adjust on the defensive side of the ball for the Gators? And number two, what can you tell me about this little this coaching deal that we've got, this coaching predicament? We're losing a DB coach. Do you see any other coaches in a hot seat at this moment? And does that mean anything for recruits? Because it's obviously some of these recruits had his back, right? Some of these recruits were very vocal on social media about keeping Coach Raymond. Has this affected it? So it's a two-part question. I'll turn it over to you, and then Donnie B, I want to hear how you respond to this as well.
So what I'll say is about Coach Raymond and the current stance of what kids in the portal, right? Coach Raymond was a beloved figure in the recruiting circles, right? He was he coined he coined the phrase DBU when he was at LSU. He put a lot of kids into NFL first, second, third rounds and beyond. He came to Florida with the pedigree of being probably the best DB coach in America. And our defensive backs haven't looked like that. Lately, they haven't been able to track the ball. They've been kind of making business decisions when it comes to open field tackling and tackling. Period. So his departure from the university was a bittersweet thing. I think I don't know if I don't want to say if the game's passed him by, maybe his coaching style, his coaching abilities kind of regressed a little bit. But what I'll say is it definitely hurt. It definitely hurt in recruiting. Some kids were locked in completely with Corey Raymond, but I think Billy had to make a decision when he deemed best for the university. Him and Austin Armstrong as the defensive coordinator. And secondly, I think a lot of kids are leaving the defense. The kids that entered the portal from defense, I don't think too many have been impact players. Like I think Donnie alluded to earlier, the kids in the trenches, I think we need them from depth, but they want game changers. They want your Sharif Floyds, your Dominique Easleys. They want your Taven Bryans from years in the past or in the Will Muschamp era. They weren't those guys, but these guys could play 20, 30 snaps a game and be impactful in those limited amount of snaps, right? But as far as recruiting, we did get a new DB coach announced today. His name is Will Harris, former Washington defensive back coach, former USC Trojan. I think he played under Pete Carroll there, and he was the current assistant secondary coach of the San Diego Chargers. And at Washington, he had lockdown secondaries. I think they led the nation in passing yards allowed for like 2 to 3 years. So that was some good news on the trail, in the recruiting trail. And he's going to be in a lot of these in-person visits in the next week and a half to 2 weeks. So we'll see if he's able to kind of lock down some kids, make some first impressions that are memorable, and kind of retain some of the talent that we need, this influx of talent that we need to be good again. So I'll turn it over to Donnie with that.
Well, I tell you what, I've been very bad because I've been meaning to do the old ding here for when good points are made on the show. I got a little ding sound effect. So you're going to get the first ding of the show here for bringing us that breaking news of Harris, the coaching hire there. We appreciate you bringing that. Donnie, you got a response to this coaching thing. Give it to us. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. You're muted. Donnie B. Donnie B, turn on the Talking Gator. If you're watching. All right, it's just me, folks. Yeah, this episode of the Talking Gator not brought to you by Windstream, obviously. But that's, you have good points, and I kind of lost my train of thought through all that. But does the new coach hire, does that bring some new energy into our DB room? Because looking back on our 2023 season, being fair to Midland and the defensive backs, and kind of A lot of questions go into 2024 on the defensive side of the ball, but especially, with defensive backs. How do you feel this hire? Do you feel, Terrell, this hire moves us forward? Or I guess give
what
me your feeling on it.
I guess what I would say is I'm unsure. Like I don't know. I don't the name. I don't know the name, right? Obviously, I just can know go off what he did at Washington, which is the Power Five conference. Like he led the nation in passing yards. I think 2 years in a row. Like the amount given up, and I think he put a lot of guys in the NFL, like Trent McDuffie. A lot of guys with first and second round picks playing under him. I don't know if he recruited those players. I don't know any of that type of stuff. I just can go off the statistics standpoint. So if he can improve with that with SEC level talent, because I think we have some good names, some good pedigree in the secondary. I just think they need to be recoached, kind of loved up on a little bit, telling them tell them to get off the message boards, get off the Twitters, get off the Instagrams, and kind of just refocus in and hone in on their skill through the spring and the summer, and hopefully they can turn our year around, right? But I'm hopeful, right? Because basically what he did at Washington, I'm hopeful. In the Pac-12, they throw the ball a lot. And if you can have that level of success in the Pac-12 when they're passing the ball around 50, 60 times a game, hopefully you can have that level of success in the SEC as well. So we'll see. I'm unsure. I don't know a lot about him.
Donnie B, you're presumably back with us?
I am back.
Okay, and we caught nothing of your response to recruits and coaching. Terrell segued seamlessly and professionally from one to the other. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, I'm having some internet issues. I mean, I'm trying to do the best I can with what I'm working with. I keep moving around because I keep losing you guys.
What's going on? What's going on with Windstream?
Sorry about that.
Do we need to put in an email to Windstream about your connection, because this is not working for the Talking Gator?
Well,
I'll put in a phone call. I got a couple connections at Windstream.
We've had some bad weather, and I think we actually had tornado ones here. Bad weather.
My brother-in-law's a tech with Windstream. I'll have him at your house in 25 minutes. He'll get this figured out. But we're on a roll. We can't wait for Kenny. Shout out to Kenny Dukes, big Florida State fan, Alabama fan. Go ahead, Donnie. Sorry. Yep, we're not going to give you that. So Terrell, just kind of a little closing up, wrapping up here. I do want to just make a kind of some real quick, if you don't mind, just run over some basketball. Gator men's basketball. I know we've promised our listeners to get into a little more basketball, and it's just it's hard for me to get. I know I wanted to get away from football, guys. I wanted to get away from football. I wanted to stop talking about it, but here I am in, portal shit's just opened up. Coaching moves, recruits are questionable. So, I failed to watch any basketball for that reason. But with our Gator men's basketball, we're looking at 5-4 overall. Not bad, right? We were hoping for better. They were looking better. We are 4-0 at home in Exact Tech at the O'Connell Center. One little thing I caught is we've been able to play four ACC teams in these 9 games, and we're kind of half and half with them. Kind of struck me a little weird. We got East Carolina coming up. That's going to be in Lakeland, Florida on the 14th. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Florida men's basketball tips off January 6th versus UK. And that's a home game for us Gators and Exact Tech. That's really exciting to catch an SEC home opener and I like to call it the Swamp, even though it's next door to the Swamp. It's still a swamp, right? I think if you come, Terrell, outsider looking in, where does the Swamp start? Like, do you feel when you roll into Gainesville? Have you been to Gainesville? But I mean, do you feel like the Swamp is the stadium? Do you feel like the Swamp is the university property, or do you think when you roll into Gainesville, Florida, you're now in the Swamp? Okay, so we can call the O'Connell Center the Exact Tech Arena, whatever you want to call it, where Gators men's basketball plays. It's right next door to our football stadium. Would you consider that the Swamp? The basketball arena? The Swamp? Donnie, Donnie, if you walk into a basketball game, are you in the Swamp? Or is that solely saved for the stadium, the football stadium? It is. The O Dome, yeah, it was the old O Dome. I like now that Todd Golden's here. I like everything being golden. The Golden Arena, the Golden Boys. It just plays well. It just plays well. Terrell, there's an interesting thing, and a lot of stadiums are like this. But when you pull, there are a couple places as you drive around the stadium, the football stadium, that you can see into the stadium. And there is an obvious, like when you're looking in, you're from the outside, we'll call natural grade. At natural grade, you're probably, Donnie, what would you say, 10, 15 rows above the field? And that's just, walking from the outside. And if you catch a glimpse inside the stadium, you're looking at row 10 or 15, at least. Yeah, so it's down, it's set in. There is definitely some expert architecture and engineering to the Swamp as a whole. To me, I'm kind of split in between. I feel like anywhere the Gators are playing home and competitively, that can be easily identified as the Swamp. Okay, so if the swim team comes and you're coming to the Swamp. You're coming to the Swamp to swim against the Gators. You're coming to the Swamp. It may be Mark Bostic Golf Course. But when South Carolina's coming to play a golf match, you're coming to the Swamp. So I get that the stadium, there's something special about the stadium being called the Swamp, but I think there's more of a sentiment to saying you're coming to visit the Gators in the Swamp, no matter where it is that your field of play might be. Let's make 2024 the year that Jay, Donnie, and Terrell attend a Florida football game together. We'd love to take Terrell to his first Gator game. He'd make it work. Oh, that would be so much fun. That would be fun. That's a rabbit hole in my mind waiting to happen. I'm already setting up inside the Swamp for us to do a show. I'm already setting our broadcast desk up in the corner at the Swamp. Yeah. Right now, let me bring that graphic back up for you, Donnie. Gators men basketball. We're 5-4 overall. We lost. We opened up with a loss. All right. Then we lost to Baylor. We lost to Wake Forest. Uh, yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Yeah, we got no. We have Michigan next week. This week we've got East Carolina. Got East Carolina. We're heading to Lakeland Thursday. And then we come back Tuesday. Tuesday we have Michigan. We're gonna have a show the day before the Michigan game. So I'll make sure I put on my notes so we talk maybe a little bit of Michigan basketball heading into that. But hey, guys, before we do go, Donnie, you're coming in nice and clear. I want to get a little 2-minute closing thought from everybody, or from each of you. A little 2 minutes uninterrupted. I'll let Terrell lead this off. 2 minutes closing thought on the show. Take it away, Terrell.
Obviously, we're big football fanatics over here on the Talking Gator. This is an important time. Recruiting that is all-time high for the University of Florida. The transfer portal is open. We're losing players. Hopefully, we can bring in some key pieces to kind of keep us moving and keep us going into the spring football. And that coaching. I forgot to touch base on this. I don't know what Billy Napier is going to do with the O-line coaches and the OC. That hasn't been determined. I guess from what I can discern and pick up from the Twitter streets or whatnot, that a lot of these coaches' contracts run out on January 31st. So we should hear some announcements kind of around that time frame or at the National Signing Day on the 20th. But just be on the lookout for major recruiting action coming up in the next week or two. And that's all I got for you for the night show.
All right, man. Hey, we appreciate your time. Donnie B, 2 minutes closing thoughts. Take it away.
Naturally, we got a great group here. Our thought processes are a little different, but we all have to unite. We're never going to come up with a solution to fix it, but it's good talking points, and that's what this is Talking Gator. And we always want best for the Gator program, whether it's basketball or baseball or football or whatever. But things that are glaring to me right now, I got some I've got some concerns about where we are with the football program. I'm anxious to see how the next few weeks turn out with some of these guys that are flipping. And I get it. I know why they're flipping. There's a lot of uncertainty, as you mentioned, Terrell, and the coaching staff. We don't know what's going on there. I'll be honest with you, I thought Corey Raymond was a really good recruiter, and I thought that was the reason why we had a lot of kids looking at our program. But something must have happened inside the house that we don't know about, and that could be another show. But I look, I'm always a Gator in all kinds of weather. We all stick together, but this is a trying time, and anxious to see how these next few weeks will work out. If Billy Napier don't get it right, he's going to have a short leash for sure.
Very well done. My final 2 minutes, gentlemen. To me, a show where everyone agrees is a boring show. Nobody wants to watch that. None of us learn, another's perspective on, our Gators, without this dynamic. And that's kind of why I wanted the three of us together. That's why I thought the three of us worked perfectly, is because we feel so passionately about the Gators, but yet we still look at it from different dynamics, from different angles. We bring multiple colors of character, three different shades of character into this. I love what we're building here. This young show, I like how it's progressing. I thank you guys for jumping in and doing this with me. This has been a lot of fun. Donnie B, you and I have been doing it for a few weeks. It's been great bringing Terrell in and having his involvement and inclusion in this. And again, I think it just brings exactly what I wanted out of the Gator show, is because I've learned a lot from both, and I've been able to kind of look at things from a different perspective because of the two of you. I may agree with you on one point, and then the other one brings a great perspective that I didn't see, and vice versa. So, guys, I thank you for you two gentlemen, your time. This is great that you can, chase these childish hobbies of mine. I guess that childish dreams of mine of just being out here and talking Gators with a couple good Gator fans. And folks, we thank you for your time. Again, if you like what we're doing here on the Talking Gator, we just ask that you like and subscribe. Oh, that says closing thoughts. We ask that you like and subscribe, and then catch our shows on Monday. Next Monday, we'll let you know what we're doing about Christmas Monday. I think we want to do a little picks going into that too. So do that. Hit that like and subscribe. We'll see you next Monday. That'll be a live show. Thanks for joining us. Later.